Great new idea in Kentucky, Paducah, Kentucky, where a lot of good ideas come from. They've decided, hey, you know what? Let's do Guns for Jesus. Oh boy. Chuck McAlister is a former Outdoor Channel hunting show host, and so he wanted to put his expertise to work here. And at the Lone Oak Baptist Church in Paducah, they decided they were going to give away guns for people who were unchurched and decided to come into church to get the guns. I'm sure that's exactly what Jesus would want. Let's go shoot somebody for Jesus. Okay. Now, they give away 25 guns, but a lot of people come to get them, and then they do a raffle. Who's the lucky winner of the Glock today? Imagine the amount of people you can get if you're giving away RPGs. Probably shouldn't give them ideas. You know how many guys showed up so far for these programs? 1,678. Okay. And they're just getting warms up. And these guys come, and apparently what they do is they give professions of faith. Now, think about that for a second. Now, if you were unchurched before, as they call it, and you came in to show your faith only when they'd give you a weapon, how much faith do you really have? Is it faith in Jesus or faith in the guns? And they brazenly call these Second Amendment celebrations. I don't remember which gospel the Second Amendment was in, but they got a whole new Bible down in the South today, okay, and all over America, to be fair. And Chuck McAlister, when he sees all these people come in, he asks them in the middle of his sermon, you know, how many of you all here would like weapons? And they get a big raise of hands like, yeah, weapons, yes, what do we kill next? Okay, I mean, hunt, sure. And he says, that's awesome. Quote, we've got an army right here. An army looking for salvation at the end of an AK-47. Okay? Who does that sound like? Religious people get together, a bunch of fundamentalists, hand out weapons, and then celebrate their army. I bet I could find something similar in Kandahar. Okay. So, as the Courier-Journal explains, 103 men made salvation decisions that day to accept Christ as their Savior after the meeting. After they got their Glock, they made a decision that Christ was their Savior. Now, Nancy Jo Camper, who's a pastor, a New Union Church pastor, thinks this might be a little counterproductive to Jesus' teachings. She says churches should not be encouraging people in their communities to arm themselves against their neighbors, but to love their neighbors as instructed by Jesus. Well, that's one way to go. Chuck thinks that there's another way to go. He explains. The number of unchurched that will show up at an event will be in direct proportion to the number of guns you give away. And I can almost tell you the number of men that will show up based on the make and model of the gun. So imagine if they're giving away Uzis. Woo-hoo! A lot of people would get saved for Jesus that day. This is what they've turned Jesus into. This is what they've turned the Bible into. This is what they've turned Christianity into. Come get your guns for Jesus, and we'll have a salvation army, an army of God, perhaps. I'm fond of saying this because it makes sense every time to compare the two. In Arabic, army of God is Hezbollah.